Hi, this is Carolyn at Carolina Crafting. Welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'm creating this one for my weekly newsletter that goes out on Tuesdays, and we're going to be making a card using the Woolly Friends bundles. It comes with the stamp set and the punch, and I think it's just darling. And I love the little phrases and how it spells you, E-W-E, you're simply fabulous, you make me happy. I just think it's so cute. We'll also be using the brand new Lazy Daisy 3D embossing folder that just came out last week, and I think it's becoming my favorite embossing folder as I've been working with it. So I've pre-cut some of my cardstock just to make the video go a little quicker. I have a regular A2 card base. This is with Flirty Flamingo, and of course it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then I have 2 pieces of basic white. This is 4 by 5 1/4. Then I have a piece of Designer Series paper. This was product of the month last month, and it's called Painted Illusions, 12 by 12 Designer Series paper, and this is cut at 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. Then I have another piece of basic white cardstock that is 2 by 4 inches, and that is what I have already pre-cut to make my card. Next, we're going to do a little bit of die cutting and emboss using the Lazy Daisy 3D embossing folder. So let me move this out of the way and get my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm using the Everyday Arches dies, and this one is I believe it's the 5th from the largest, and just get a piece of scrap basic white and cut out my arch. And I have my arch, and now we're going to do some embossing. If you'll grab that 2 by 4 piece of white cardstock that we cut, we're going to emboss on it. So I'll just open my Lazy Daisy folder, put that right in there, and then we'll run it through. And this is the embossed piece of paper. I think that's such a pretty embossing folder. So before we start stamping and doing all the different parts of a card, I want to show you a little trick. So on the stamp set, you'll notice, on the punch, you'll notice it punches out the body of the sheep, the head, and then it's got a bow or a bell you can make to put around its neck. I want to line up my stamps so that instead of punching it 3 different times for the pieces I want, I can just slide it in and cut it all at once. So what you do, you're going to take just a scrap piece of cardstock and punch it. And you're going to use the negative space here to line up your stamps. So I'll come in here with the body, and I'll fit it right in there. Has the punch right inside the punch. Then I'm going to fit his little head in here. And then I'm using the bell today on my card. So I'll fit the bell in here. Okay, and once I have it just like I want it, then I'll take a block that's big enough to pick up all of these. I think I need one a little bit bigger maybe. No, that one might. That'll get them. Okay. And there you go. So when I stamp this and use my punch, I only have to punch one time. So I'm going to come in here with a piece of scrap white and ink up my stamp. Okay. And then you want to make sure, even though the body's upside down, you want to make sure you're turning it the same way your punch is. Well, I mean, it really doesn't matter, but this way it'll fit better in the punch versus having to kind of fool with it, figuring out another way. Okay. Before I punch him out, I want to do all of my coloring and it's just easier because it's on a bigger piece of paper to do all your coloring and anything like that before you punch them out. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get a scrap piece of paper though to go under it, just because these alcohol markers can bleed through your cardstock. So I'm using the dark smoky slate, and I'm going in and just where these little pieces showing his, I guess his fluff is, I'm coloring those in, and I'm going to color his legs in the smoky slate. That little one on his or her head. I'm also going to fill in the tie or whatever it is that's tying the bell on. Oops. And then I want to use my light Flirty Flamingo just to color in a little pink nose. And then the bell has a stamp, or you can color it in, but it has a stamp, so you can just stamp the color in. And I'm using Darling Duckling to fill it in. Okay. And before I punch them out, I'm going to do a few more things, just because I'm so bad to lose my little pieces once I punch them out. Next, I'm going to bring in the everyday arches that I cut out, and we're going to do a little shading. And we're going to use Granny Apple Green and get a blending brush. And so this, we're going to have the sheep out like he's in the pasture in the grass, so we're going to bring in a little Granny Apple Green and make some grass across the bottom here. Okay. And then we're using a lot of the stamps out of this stamp set today. We're going to come in with the one that's the grass stamp, and we're going to stamp it across the top, all the way across. I might make just a couple little grassy areas down here too. Okay. Then we're also going to stamp in our tulips. And I'm putting these over on the left side here. And just like with the bell, you had a stamp to fill in your shape, you have that for the leaves and for your flower parts on the tulip. So let me go in and fill those in with the stamps. And then I believe I'm done with the Granny Apple Green. I also want to make the sky on this as well, so I'm using Balmy Blue, and I probably should have done this before I stamped my tulips, but it's okay. It'll be fine. And we're just going to come in and give it some blue sky here. Just like that. I believe that's enough. And now I'm going to bring in Flirty Flamingo and fill in the tulips. And we have the flower shape here that we can just stamp that in and fill it in. Okay, now I think I'm ready to punch out my pieces for the sheep. So, like I said, since you lined up your stamps using that template you made from your punch, this should punch out perfectly. So you're just going to line it up. And there you have all your pieces. And you have the extra piece for the ribbon if you would have stamped it, but I don't need it. Now we can start putting the card together. So let me move this scrap piece away. So we'll start building the outside of our card. What you'll do, you'll take one piece of the basic white, and you're going to use it as a mat for your designer series paper. And this is so you just have a little bit of white edge to that designer series paper, not a lot, just a little peeking out. And then we can glue this down to our card base. You'll just center that on the front. Next, you're going to use your embossed piece and just lay it down kind of more towards the bottom like this. Your stamp piece is going to go right here. Okay. All right. We need to stamp one more thing. We need to put a greeting on our arch here before we glue everything down. And so I'm using the phrase on there, sending flowers and sunshine. And I will use Memento Tuxedo black ink for that. And you'll want to stamp it at the top. Okay. And it also comes with a little butterfly that I had out here too. I really want to use it. I think it's really cute. So my sheep's going to go to the right, and I'm going to have him kind of like he's smelling those flowers there. So I have room maybe over here in the corner or up here. I think I like it over here, to stamp my butterfly. So we'll bring out the Memento ink again. And just put him over here on the side. There we go. Now we can start assembling our sheep on the arch we made for the little scene. I'm just going to glue his body to the card with some liquid glue. And we're going to put him over to the side here. Okay. And I want to put his head on a dimensional so it'll be sticking up from his body. Okay. I'm going to position him kind of right over those flowers like he's smelling them. Maybe like that. And then we want to get our little bell up and under there. It's so tiny, I'm going to use my tweezers to kind of hang on to it, to glue it and position it. Let's tuck it right under there. I think he's so cute. Okay, then all we have left to do is position him on our card. And I was trying to decide if I wanted to do dimensionals on this or not, and I think I do. Okay, what do you think? Do we need to add anything, or are we finished? I think we may be finished with this one. And then of course you can put your inside white piece down, glue it down, so you'll have a place to write your greetings to whoever you're giving this card to. So I hope you enjoyed that. Again, this is the Woolly Friends bundle that comes with the stamp set and the punch. And then the embossing folder is the Lazy Daisy brand new embossing folder that just came out last week. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. If you like watching my videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and give me a like. You'll turn your notifications on. You'll also know whenever I post a new video. Thank you for watching.